would your advice be to someone who wants to venture out but is afraid of like the insecurity, like financial insecurity or not knowing the skills? What would your advice be to them?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I think that's a very good question. Jumping out of comfort zone is definitely painful, right? Any change is painful. What we learn and from the from the industry, from the seasonal entrepreneurs, right? You look at all the successful entrepreneurs, they went through the pain, right? So first lesson you need to learn is be comfortable with the discomfort, right? So you have to be very comfortable with uncertainties. It's filled with uncertainties because whatever you're venturing in, right? Yes, you might have a very clear vision and goal objective, right? But there's so much of uncertainties in front of you, right? If everything is so certain, right, then everyone will go into what you're doing, right? Because you're creating something new, you're creating new values. So you have to learn to be comfortable with uncertainties. When you wake up in the morning, right, there's so much of uncertainties, everything you're hustling. You have to learn to be comfortable with it. If this is something that you feel very uncomfortable, that means this journey might not be appropriate for you. Then you might need to fall back to your comfort zone. I'm not saying right or wrong, but when you jump out of comfort zone, that's where you grow the most. That's where you learn the most, right? And often, I'm not to say all the healthcare providers, but a lot of healthcare providers have this issue, and this barrier is ego, especially doctors. Why would I, because as a doctor, we are very passive. People come to us and seek help. People knock our door and come to us. But when you come out of it, right, more or less, if I were to put, right, you are the salesman, you are the sales lady. You're trying to sell your vision, you're trying to sell your product to your customer, to your team, to your members and your partners. You are the salesman. You're no longer a healthcare provider that you have the ego. Ego can kill, right? So that is a barrier that I always tell my team, my doctors, right, really have to lower yourself. Even though as a healthcare provider, you shouldn't have the ego. Otherwise, you are not able to have a proper communication with your patients. Patients always look up at you, but it's no longer that time, the era, right? There's so many healthcare providers. Why should I really go to you? There's so many others, right? Really, it's about lowering ourselves to stay humble and stay hungry, and be hungry of more, to learn more. So when you come out of comfort zone, right, there are a few stages you need to go through, which is you need to learn new things. At the same time, you need to unlearn, because your capacity, you are so much, right? You think you know everything, right? You need to learn how to unlearn, and then subsequently you relearn, right? And it's a kind of glass, right? So if you go to a class, right, with a full glass of water, right, there's nothing much you can be poured to you, because you know so much. When you go to anything new, right, or the class you want to learn, right, you need to empty your glass, go in with an empty glass, and let people, them to fill you up, so that you can learn the most, right? And so this is my suggestion, actually. Yeah. So it's tough, it's painful, but you have to endure and embrace the pain and uncertainty. But it will be rewarding. The values, is money combined. If you can help the patient in just one another way, right? That kind of rewards, right, is something that you can't imagine, really, if you really are solving the right pain point in the healthcare segment. Yeah.